Welcome to the lentil soup making video of 2025. That's right, we're making lentil soup, my all-time favorite soup besides maybe pea soup. And we're going to start by cutting up vegetables. Step number one. First of all, I got parsley here. This is organic parsley. You don't need a whole lot, but I have a whole lot. Life is like a bunch of parsley. I don't know why it is, but it just is. Here we see we got some parsley. That's probably enough right there. Two stalks of organic celery. Life is like a celery stalk. I don't know why it's like a celery stalk, but it is. So I'm just going to cut this in parts here, and then I'm going to cut the parts. But this is how I cut my celery. I just do it like this. I cut it in those little things, and then I dice it like this, because then I get a whole bunch of it all at once. A whole bunch of it gets cut in little tiny pieces. So we got our celery and we got our parsley. Now we got to break out a clove of garlic. That's right, we're going to put some garlic in this thing. And we're going to put just one clove. Got to open it up and get a clove out of it. So we've got our little clove of garlic. Garlic, you just don't want a whole lot of it. So we're going to leave it like that. Just enough so you get the health benefits, you get the flavor. And then finally we have to break out the onion. Life is like an onion. Oh, I forgot to do life is like a clove of garlic. Life is like a clove of garlic. I don't know why it is, but it is. And same is true of an onion. And of course, if you watch Shrek, you know that Shrek is like an onion. Ogres are like onions, right? So, evidently ogres are like onions, and my lentil soup is like an onion. Now if I cry, it's not because I'm emotional. It's because I'm cutting an onion. I'm not a big fan of onions myself, but in soup, you kind of got to have it in your soup. And yes, my eyes are starting to water. And that means this is a real onion. It's not a fake one. There's probably so much better ways to cut an onion than this, but this is how I do it. So live with it. Yes, I did edit this video, so you didn't have to watch me chop all the onions. But yes, it took me a while because I was extra careful and because I'm just not very good at cutting onions. And I don't claim to be a chef. If anyone puts a caption on here that this is Chef Jim, you can laugh at them and tell them to go away. Because no, I'm not a chef. And I would never claim to be a chef. I never have been a chef. And I never will be a chef. Okay, now we're going to just cut this up real nice. And I'm going to just put this in real nice, fine little pieces. So here's our onion. We've got our celery and our parsley and garlic and our onion. And now we are ready to start working on our pot. Because working on the pot is a project in itself. Okay, now we are in the official pot department. This is our soup pot. Yes, it's rather large. It's because I like to make a certain amount of this soup, and it has to be in this size pot so I get all the ingredients in right. So, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grease the bottom of the pot with bacon, because bacon is what you do. It's just what you do. Okay, we're gonna take some strips of bacon and we're just gonna stick them on the bottom here. I usually take 3 or 4 strips, and I got some uncured apple wood smoked bacon here, and I'm gonna put it on the bottom of the pot. Well, I think, yeah, 4 strips will do it. Put 4 strips on the bottom. So now, as you can see, we have 4 strips of bacon on the bottom of our pot. 4, count them 4. You know that bacon is not going to heat up if you don't turn the burner on. This is a secret I have to share with you. That bacon will not heat up unless you turn the burner on. So I turned on the burner. That's a necessary step. Don't forget that one, okay? While we're heating up the bacon, we're going to cut up our poksta kielbasa. That's right, you got to have poksta kielbasa. Now we're going to cut up our 2 poksta kielbasas. We got 2 of them here. I'm going to cut these up, and I usually just cut them into fairly small pieces, but you don't want to be too small because you want to have those little chunks of poksta kielbasa that you can just fork out. I think I'm on a high speed this part of the video so you can see me cut it all really fast. Okay, we're going to do this on high speed. Okay, here we go. Now this is kind of an important part. We have to pull our bacon out now because the bacon has greased the bottom of the pot. And we're going to have to cut this bacon up and put it in the soup. So we have to get it out of here. And then what we do is we pour our veggies in there. We pour in our celery and our onions and our parsley and our garlic. And we stick it all in there. And we stir it around and let it get all slimy with grease. I'm going to let that cook in there. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep cutting my poksta kielbasa. Okay, we're going to stir this up a little bit. Make sure our veggies don't burn. Let's stir this up. Make our veggies get all heated up here. The next thing we do is we add some chicken broth. This is organic chicken broth. And I'm going to add 4 of these 32-ounce containers. Of course, the most important thing about soup is to let it cook for a long time. But the second most important thing is you got to have good broth. If you don't have good broth, you're not going to have good soup. So I use chicken broth because it just adds to the flavor. It just makes the whole soup taste better. Yes, I'm going to add water to it as well, but you got to have a good amount of broth. And before we ever add any water, we're just going to let the veggies cook in the chicken broth. Now we're going to have to go through the process of letting this heat up because now we got cold chicken broth that's in with our partially cooked vegetables. Life is like poksta kielbasa. It turns into slices when you cut it. And if you're wondering why it's called poksta kielbasa, let me tell you the story. This is a long, intense story, and you're going to be very interested in hearing why this particular sausage is called poksta kielbasa. Okay, this is going to really intrigue you. This is going to be a fascinating story that you're going to want to pass on to your children for generations after this. The reason it's called poksta kielbasa is because someone named it that. That's right, someone named it that. And, you know, it's just a variation of like, you know, Polish sausage kind of thing, but it's poczta kielbasa. Don't ask me why. It just is. 2 whole things of it. This is a ton of poczta kielbasa we're going to stick in our soup because we want to have lots of chunks that we can pick up in our spoon and munch on. Some people cut them in half. I don't. The next thing we need is our bacon. We cooked our bacon, so now we're going to take our, well, we partially cooked it, and now we're going to cut it up in little pieces, and that's going to go into our soup as well. And you got to put this really fine, really small, because you want this to kind of salt up the whole thing and just give it a little bit of a bacon flavor to it. So we're going to make it real fine. So you notice we're timing this out kind of so that I get things done and I can just let it cook for a while. I basically just get everything cut up and get it all ready to go. And there's our magical pot. I'm going to stir this up a little bit. Now we're going to add a pinch of salt and pepper. We're going to add that now and we're going to add some later too. But I add some pepper early on and some salt. Yes, I use sea salt. I don't use iodized salt because it's artificially iodized. You don't want artificial stuff, you want real stuff. So you get the sea salt. Or if you get salt that's not iodized. So that's what it looks like right now. Okay, now I'm going to add some more water to this. This is my water that has lemon essential oil in it. And because it's distilled water, I like to use this for everything, including cooking. We're just going to add a whole bunch of this. Yes, we need all of it. Okay. Okay, there's been a bit of a time lapse here. I've been letting the soup heat up a little bit, and so now it's just starting to get heated up. And now's when you add what is supposedly the main ingredient, but it's not the main ingredient. It's lentils. But so we got a whole. This is usually you put 12 ounces in. I put all 16 ounces of this. This is 16 ounces of lentils. I put them all in. Because I have a big pot here, so I can get away with it. So I put all the lentils in there. Okay, so our pot has been boiling for a while here, or it's been just cooking really good, on the verge of boiling, and I have the lid kind of tilted so that some air gets into it, and so it doesn't boil over or anything. But what we need to do now is the most important thing. This is diced tomatoes with habaneros. And I get this particular brand, Rotel, and they're the hot ones. And you just basically dump those in. And I do 2 of them. You could do 1 if you want, but I do 2. 2 cans of these. And I stick them in there. Does that look good or what? That's been cooking for a while now, and we're going to let it cook for a few hours and just let it simmer and get all those flavors in there. And so this is where I leave you until we're done, and we'll come back to this after a couple hours, few hours, and we should be ready to go. It is now a couple hours later, and yes, we have a finished product. I'm going to let it cook a little longer still, but you get the idea here. So we have a finished product. This is my lentil soup with poczta kielbasa. That's right, it's done.